Alright, YouTube, I'm Jerry. It's Egypt.
Welcome to day 4 of our Egypt honeymoon. Had to carb load for breakfast because we had a long day of discovery. First on the agenda was an hour and 10-minute drive with our guide Ahmed to Dahshur. This trip was fairly off the beaten track, past all these cool fields of palm trees. So in Dahshur, you've got the red pyramid and the bent pyramid. The bent pyramid's the one that you can see off here in the distance. So the red pyramid is made of red granite, which gives it its name, and we're told it's built between 2575 and 2551 BC. So keep in mind that this took 24 years to build, and this is considered to be the first true pyramid. It's the third largest pyramid in Egypt, being 105 meters tall, which is 200 cubits, and 220 meters wide, which is 420 cubits. A cubit is the length from your elbow to the tip of your middle finger. It has a slope of 43 degrees, which is a strange coincidence since 43 is an important number in numerology. We're also told that it's built by Sneferu in the 4th dynasty, who's the father of Khufu. You have to walk up these stairs to get to the entrance, and up close it's absolutely huge. As you can see, there's a really nice view of the desert once you get up the stairs to the viewing platform and the entrance. On the way up, you can see how weathered these blocks are on the outside, telling you how old this structure really is. Unlike the Great Pyramid, you actually have to go downstairs to get to the internal rooms. At the bottom of the stairs, you have to duck down through this passage, which opens into a really tall space. You can see here how flat and polished these internal stones are. After going through this hole in the wall, you get to the second room, and then you have to make your way up the stairs to get to the third room. The third room has no floor. And again, you can see how flat these blocks really are. At the top of the stairs, you can see this hole in the wall, which is how they got to the third room before the stairs went in, by chiseling out this hole and then tying rope there and then climbing up the side of the wall. This big block is mirrored on both sides of the room, and I estimate it's 2 meters by 3.5 meters by 1.5 meters, which makes it roughly 30 tons of granite. Then we had to walk all the way back up these stairs to get out, because there's only one entrance and exit into this pyramid. Quick rest at the entrance before heading back down those stairs on the outside of the pyramid. We then took this short drive to the Bent Pyramid, which we're told was built around 2600 BC, but we're not entirely sure how long it took to build. The Bent Pyramid is made entirely out of limestone by the same creator as the Red Pyramid, basically exactly the same height as the Red Pyramid, just shy of 105 meters tall, which is the 200 cubits, and the base is 189 meters, which is 362 cubits. The bottom half of the pyramid is angled at 54 degrees and the top is 43. Both of these numbers are important in numerology, so the idea the angles of this pyramid are a mistake might be contested by the ancient Egyptians, and could even have been built with a mathematical code in mind, especially when you consider the sacred geometry of the 3-4-5 triangle, which is associated with Osiris, Isis and Horus respectively when it comes to ancient Egypt. Because of the hole in the side of the pyramid, you can actually see how the casing stones fit. In the distance, you can see the Black Pyramid, which is made of mud brick and fallen through the ages due to not being made from stone. It was built between 1860 and 1814 BC, so it took 46 years to build after the much more precise and still standing Red Pyramid. So after our trip to Dahshur, we went to Memphis, which was the first capital city of Egypt, and it only took 20 minutes to drive there. The megalithic statue found at the front of the entrance of Memphis Open Air Museum is exquisite. It's finely detailed and it's the twin of the one found in the Grand Egyptian Museum. Again, possibly graffitied with the cartouche of Rameses II, the detail of the belt doesn't match the rest of the statue at all, which makes it seem like it was added after by a less capable society than those who actually produced the statue. It's crazy to think that this is the second largest sphinx in all of Egypt, considering it doesn't actually seem that big at all. This is dedicated to Hatshepsut. The hieroglyphs on this column base says, "Give eternal life to the king Merenptah, who rules Upper and Lower Egypt." Merenptah is one of the many sons of Ramses II. This is another statue dedicated to Ramses, but the quality is completely different to the one at the entrance when you consider they're both supposedly been made around the same time for the same person. From here, it was a quick 15-minute drive to Saqqara. So the Step Pyramid was built roughly in 2700 BC for Djoser. Many contest that this is even a pyramid at all and just a load of mastabas stacked on top of each other. A mastaba is basically a burial for ancient Egyptians. This entranceway used to have a wall that ran all the way around the complex, but during Muhammad Ali's reign, he came along and stole stones from monuments like this and even pyramids to build his various projects like the aqueduct, which is a massive shame if you ask me. This pyramid was designed by the legendary architect Imhotep. So this big open courtyard in front of the Step Pyramid is where the king would fight an Apis bull every single year, and he would have to kill the bull to show that he's still strong enough to be the ruler. Inside the Step Pyramid, it's surprisingly cool, and at the bottom of the deep shaft there's a massive sarcophagus, possibly for Djoser, but it was pillaged by robbers many years ago, so all they found inside it was fragments. If you've got the money, you can actually buy a private tour and you can abseil down this massive hole and get really up close to that sarcophagus. You can walk around the pyramid and you can find this reconstruction statue of Djoser, since the real one is in the Egyptian Museum, which is the same as in my previous video. Then we got back in the car to drive to the Serapeum. You can find more rubble dotted around all over the place here, and these used to be pyramids. The story of the Serapeum is as follows. The Serapeum of Saqqara wasn't built in a single construction period, but evolved over a long time, beginning around 1400 BC under Amenhotep III, and then construction continued through the Ptolemaic era up until around 30 BC. So remember the red pyramid at the beginning that only took 24 years to build? This complex took 1,370 years to build. As you enter the Serapeum, you walk past the massive box at the entrance, then you find this 50-ton box that has some small hieroglyphics on it, which is probably the main reason why they believe these boxes were sarcophagus for bulls. As you can see, it's sitting in front of a long tunnel. All but one of these boxes were found completely empty. The one that had stuff in it just had some small fragments of bull bones, which again gives them the idea that these were for bull burials. As you can see from this one that hasn't got a lid, the walls are very thick, very straight and parallel to one another, which is an incredible achievement, especially when you consider this method was repeated for all 24 boxes in the Serapeum. Unlike any of the other sarcophagus found in Egypt, they haven't been decorated, so to me that puts into question if they were ever meant to be sarcophagus at all. Due to the perfection of these boxes, I kind of doubt that they use copper tools. Considering these boxes are made out of stone, the fact that they reflect my phone's light so perfectly is absolutely incredible. This box with the massive hole in it was the only sealed box when it was discovered by Auguste Marionnet in 1850, and to try and get into it, he used dynamite, and then when it was open, they found absolutely nothing inside. We were told by our guide that the basalt used to make some of these boxes came all the way from Sudan, which is 1,900 kilometers away. But other people will tell you that they're made out of Aswan granite, which is still a 6.5 on the Mohs scale and impossible to cut with copper to this accuracy. But Aswan is still 900 kilometers away, which is absolutely insane when you consider these boxes weigh 100 tons, and they would have weighed even more before they were finished. That seems like an awful lot of effort just for some sarcophagus for some bulls. So this box is one that tour guides absolutely love to show people, as it's the only one covered in hieroglyphs. But as you can see, the hieroglyphs are really scratchy. If you had the capability to make these boxes, you definitely wouldn't ruin them with this awful uneven writing on the outside. In my opinion, it just looks like graffiti. but unfortunately it's how our historians have decided to figure out what these boxes were used for originally. Some of the lines for these hieroglyphs are nowhere near straight, and for me there's no way that they match the perfection of the box itself. When you run your hand along the box, it feels so smooth, almost like you're running your hand over glass. They're just so polished and so perfect. When you get to the end of the passageway, you can see this hole. This runs 50 meters into the bedrock, and we're told that they didn't find anything else at the end of it. If these boxes were actually sarcophagus, you'd see a lot more inscriptions and decorations on the outside, basically like every other sarcophagus in Egypt, making me think the site was probably reused by later dynasties, as they did that with everything else, and they just scribbled on the boxes to make them their own. As we walk down this passageway, you can really see how it would have been basically impossible to move these boxes with just manpower, because this box at the end only just fits in the tunnel. And when you consider that there are 90-degree bends in the Serapeum as well, I have absolutely no idea how they got them round the corners. So we're back at the entrance again now, and you can see all these holes in the walls that were probably used for effigies and offerings. If you visit Egypt, you should definitely come to the Serapeum and see all of these incredible boxes for yourself. They're absolutely incredible to see up close, and my film work doesn't really do it justice considering how dark it was in there. Thanks for joining me on our trip to Dahshur, Memphis and Saqqara. These are places that you really should visit if you come to Egypt. The Serapeum doesn't seem to be one of the places that's quite popular, so it does end up being quite empty when you're there, which is just great because it means that you get to spend a little bit more time with all the boxes. Remember to come back, as I've got so much more footage of our Egypt trip to come.